Greetings everyone. Today we'll talk about kinds of transpiration. Now we already know that transpiration is a process of water loss. Now that water loss takes place in the form of water vapor, and that loss takes place from the aerial parts of a plant. Now based on from which aerial part transpiration is taking place, it is of three different types. If the transpiration is taking place from the leaves through the stomata, it is known as stomatal transpiration. If it is from directly the surface of the leaves and stems, we call it cuticular transpiration. Cuticle being the waxy layer on top of the leaf. And if it takes place from the lenticels, we call it lenticular transpiration. Lenticels are minute openings on the surface of old woody stems. Now there are three types of transpiration, but the major part of transpiration occurs through stomata. Now let us talk about the mechanism of stomatal transpiration, or how the stomatal transpiration takes place. Before we go into the detail of transpiration, let us look at the stomata. Now this opening, the white shaded part that you can see, this white part, this opening is known as the stoma. Stoma is singular for stomata. And the kidney bean shaped cells that you see just guarding this zone, guarding the stoma, these two cells are known as guard cells. Now during the day, the stomata remains widely open. Now this opening is not essentially for transpiration. It is primarily for intake of carbon dioxide. But as the stomata remains open, so transpiration also takes place. Now let us see what happens in stomatal transpiration. Now water, when it is absorbed through root from the soil, we know that it rises up and it reaches the stems, and then through the veins it reaches the leaves through the veins. Now this is a vertical section of a part of a leaf. That is, if you cut a leaf longitudinally, this is what you get to see. This is the layer of cuticle. The upper layer is the cuticle. Then comes the cellular structures are the upper epidermis. The elongated cells are mesophyll cells. And there are two types of mesophyll cells present in the leaf. The elongated ones are known as palisade mesophyll, and the ones present just beneath them are known as spongy mesophyll cells. This is the lower epidermis, and as you all know that stomata is present on the lower epidermis, this is shown to be a stomatal opening. Okay, now let us see. When the water evaporates, it evaporates as water vapor, as we have already told. Now the water which evaporates, it stays in this intercellular space. Okay, this is an intercellular space. It stays in the intercellular space, and that is what being said here, that a large number of spongy mesophyll cells have their surfaces exposed to the intercellular spaces. And as I told you, the intercellular space has water. They get it from this spongy mesophyll cells that share their surface with this intercellular space. So the surface of the cells give out some of the water as a thin film. Okay, and the water from this film evaporates, and the water vapor that is formed, it saturates the air in the intercellular space. The vapor then diffuses into other connecting intercellular spaces and finally reaches the substomatal phase. From the substomatal space, the water vapor is seen to escape through this stomata. Now the entire movement of water vapor from the surface of cell into the outside atmosphere is the result of diffusion. Okay, so the movement from these cells to the intercellular space to the outer atmosphere, this can be expressed as a result of diffusion. Now the molecules of water vapor, like those of any gas, they move from a region of higher to the lower concentration, as we can clearly see that the intercellular space has more concentration of water. Okay, now let us come to figure 5.8a. This shows the movement of water through leaf. So what happened? The cell sap, in each cell we know that it exerts a turgor pressure outward on the cell wall. Due to this pressure, some of the water, it comes out of the cell wall in the air space between the cells. See, these white regions are those air spaces, and the blue arrows are marked that how due to turgor pressure some of the water comes out into these air spaces. Here the water evaporates and the water vapor diffuses through these air spaces. The water vapor diffuses through these air spaces between these mesophyll cells into this substomatal space. So there are air spaces all around, and water first comes into these air spaces. Here they become water vapor. Then from here they come to the substomatal space. Just above the stomata is known as the substomatal space. From here they finally go out by diffusion through the stomata. Now the cells that lose water in this way, they replace it by drawing more water. We have learnt about the transpirational pull. Now most of the water that travels along the cell walls, they do it by the process of imbibition. And only a small quantity enters the cell by osmosis. Okay, so the transpirational pull is created in this manner, and it is very important because it can draw up water to up to 50 meters or more in tall trees. So remember that water vapor is lost by the process of diffusion from air spaces. Due to turgor pressure, the water comes out to the air spaces. It comes out through diffusion, and the water, when it moves along the cell walls, that is by imbibition. So diffusion, imbibition, though a little bit of osmosis also takes place, but diffusion, imbibition are the chief players here. Now more transpiration occurs from the ventral surface here, which is mentioned as the undersurface of a dicot leaf. Why so? Quite simple, because there are more stomatal openings on the ventral surface of a dicot leaf. That's why. Okay, now don't agree with this because I said it. You can easily do a experiment to see, which is given here, that take a clip of cobalt chloride paper, which we had used earlier for different experiments. Now if you take the cobalt chloride paper, keep it on the upper and the ventral surface, keep it on the dorsal and the ventral surface, and use two slides and paper clips to secure the cobalt chloride papers like this. So there is this leaf, then a cobalt chloride paper, above the leaf, below the leaf, and one slide above that, one slide below that, and secured them with these paper clips. After some time, you will see that the piece of paper which is facing the upper surface of the leaf, that either does not turn pink or takes a lot of time to turn pink, but the paper that is at the lower surface, that turns pink faster. That means it comes in contact with more water. And how can more water be there? It can be there as a result of transpiration. Okay, so that's how we can prove that the lower surface of dicot leaf results or gives out more water vapor due to the process of transpiration. Now, transpiration occurs as long as the stomata are open, and it stops when they are closed. Now, the opening and closing mechanism of stomata is a very important one. We will read it again in the next chapter. Here also a good explanation is given. The opening and closing mechanism of stomata is regulated by the amount of water and solutes present in the gut cells. Okay, so as the stomata open during the daytime, diffusion of carbon dioxide and oxygen takes place. Now, when carbon dioxide enters, photosynthesis takes place, allowing transpiration. Now, if for any reason the water content of the leaf is falling short, the guard cells fail to remain turgid. Now, let me say that when the stomata is open, carbon dioxide is entering, photosynthesis is taking place. Photosynthesis needs water. So, water is also coming into the guard cells to help in aid in photosynthesis, and due to presence of the water, the guard cells are turgid. Turgid means they allow the stomata to remain open. But if there is more transpiration or more water loss, and the plant is not able to keep up with the loss and is not able to absorb enough water, in that case there is a deficit of water in the guard cell. And the guard cells, they do not remain turgid. And if they are flaccid, they will shrink. And when they shrink, the stomatal opening closes. And when it closes, transpiration stops, giving the plant chance to replenish the water. Okay. Now, you must be seeing mostly in summers that leaves of some plants wilt during midday, but they recover in the evening. It is because of the lack of water. In some plants, you see this because the rate of transpiration during midday, it exceeds the rate of absorption. So, guard cells lose turgidity, and whatever I explained, that takes place. And in the evening, what happens? During the night, stomata remains closed, temperature comes down a little, so there is no loss of water through transpiration. That means the water that is absorbed, it is not lost, so the turgidity of the leaves is regained. They become turgid and they are not wilting anymore, they stand out erect. Okay, so here we have learned that it's basically water that controls the opening and closing of guard cells, but that's not the entire truth. We will read in photosynthesis chapter that it's the amount of solutes also that regulate the opening and closing of stomata. Now, stomatal transpiration is controlled by a plant. We read it just now, by adjusting the size of the stoma. Okay, but this cannot be done in case of cuticular and lenticular transpiration, because there no adjustment can take place, because there is no such cell as guard cell there. Cuticle, we all know, is a waxy layer which is secreted by epidermis on both the surfaces of the leaf, and it varies. The thickness of cuticle varies from plant to plant. The chief function of cuticle is actually the opposite of what we are seeing here. It's actually to prevent evaporation of water. But no process is foolproof. So some evaporation does occur. if the cuticle is thinner, more evaporation takes place or transpiration takes place, and if the thickness of the cuticle is more, less is the rate of transpiration. That's why you will see that desert plants, they have thicker cuticles because they want to cut down their rate of transpiration. Now let's see what happens in lenticular transpiration. Well, lenticels are special openings that develop on the barks of old stems in place of stomata. Now, lenticels, unlike stomata, never close. They don't have any guard cells, they remain open all the time. So they allow diffusion of gases for respiration as well as for photosynthesis. So if there is some opening, it will always allow the water to come out. So water from the cell surface directly facing the lenticel helps in evaporation of the water. That means the cells which are facing the lenticels, they participate in this transpiration, in this type of transpiration. So amount of transpiration from lenticel is obviously more than cuticular transpiration, but pretty less than stomatal transpiration. So maximum transpiration takes place through stomata, followed by lenticels, and the least amount of transpiration takes place through cuticles. So that's about the 3 different types of transpiration that takes place in plants. And next day we'll talk about factors that affect transpiration and adaptation in plants to reduce excessive transpiration and significance of transpiration. So that will almost cover the chapter. That's it for today. Thank you, everyone.